What is going on, my gymless heroes? Welcome to gymless.org, where we teach you how to get fit and strong outside the gym. I'm Pat Chadwick, a calisthenics coach with over 4 years of experience in helping students from all over the world get fit and strong using their own body weight. Now in this video, I'll be walking you through how to do the handstand. But before I begin, be sure to hit the subscribe button that is located under this video to be notified for future workout tutorials. So what is the handstand? Well, the handstand is a calisthenics static skill where it requires you to place your hands on the floor and balance yourself whilst being upside down. The benefits of doing this skill is that it will not only make you look cool, but it also make you feel cool, and along the way of the journey, it will help to develop your upper body strength, increase your body awareness, as well as your body control. Now, the handstand is an intermediate level exercise because you'll need sufficient amount of upper body strength to be able to support yourself whilst being upside down. So, what muscles are worked by the handstand? Well, the primary muscles are your anterior deltoids, your posterior deltoids, your traps, and the abdominals, as well as secondary muscles, which are your wrist extensors, your forearms, your triceps, your quadriceps, and your glutes. Alright, so before I begin teaching you how to do the handstand, it is important that you know what are its requirements, alright? Because if these requirements are met, it means that you have sufficient amount of upper body strength to be able to perform handstand drills. Now, based on my experience and the experiences of the students that I've taught with the handstand, the requirements are 10 pike push-ups, 10 push-ups, and 60 seconds plank. Alright, so before you begin your handstand training, it's highly recommended that you warm up your upper body, especially in your wrists and your shoulders, as this will create openness, it will improve range of motion, and it will also reduce pains that you may have, especially in your wrist. So I'll walk you through my handstand warm-up routine that I personally use every single session. Alright, so the first wrist warm-up is called wrist rotations, alright? So what you do is you'll clasp your hands together at the center of your chest. Then you'll roll your wrist forwards for 20 reps. And once that's done, you want to roll your wrist backwards towards your chest for 20 reps. And then when that's done, you want to roll it side to side for 20 reps. All right, so this should be done really fast. So, okay, so the next warm-up exercise is called a wrist extension stretch. So you begin on all fours and you place your palms on the floor. Fingers facing forward, lock your arms out, and what you do is you gently rock forward and back 10 times. And on the last rep, you want to hold this for 20 seconds. At a forward leaning position. Okay, so the next exercise is called the wrist circles. Again, you'll stay in the same position on all fours with your palms on the floor, and then you'll just rotate your torso to create a circular motion while keeping your wrist and your arm locked out. So you do 10 rotations one way and then 10 rotations the other way. So the next warm-up drill is called side to sides. Again, you'll place your palms on the floor, but this time you'll face your fingers away from each other, so they're facing opposite each other. And then you rock side to side 10 times. So the next drill is called finger presses. You place your palms on the floor while still being on all fours, and then you press your fingers into the ground to lift the palms of your hands off the floor. You want to do this for 10 reps. So the next drill is called backward leans, all right? So you place your palms on the floor, but this time your fingers will be facing towards your knees. What you do is you rock back and forth for 10 reps, and then on the last rep, you hold a backward leaning position for 20 seconds. And then the last wrist warm-up is called the wrist flexion stretch. So you place the back of your hands on the floor, while your fingers are facing your knees. You rock back and forth 10 times. And on the last rep, you hold this position for 20 seconds. So now moving on, we'll do some shoulder stretches to create openness and to create that beautiful body alignment. So the first drill is called the elevated platform stretch. You'll place your hands on an elevated platform such as a chair, but for me I'll use parallettes. So I'll place it on the platform whilst keeping my arms straight, and then I'll pull in my shoulders and my chest towards the ground. And I'll hold this position for 20 seconds. Moving on, the next drill is called the shoulder pole stretch. So you stand tall whilst holding a broomstick or resistance band, and you hold this out wider than shoulders width. What you then do is you keep your core tight and then you lift up the stick or the resistant band above your head to create an arc motion, and then you pull it behind your head and down your back as far as you can. And then you return back to the starting position and you repeat this for 8 reps. All right, now it's time to learn how to do the handstand. So I'll walk you through all the progressions from 0 to hero. First progression is called Pike hold. This progression will give you a feel of what it's like to load your shoulders. It will also condition your front shoulders, so the anterior deltoids and your core. So to begin, you will start in a push-up position with your arms locked out, your core engaged, as well as your glutes. What you then do is you gradually walk your feet in towards your hands to create an inverted V shape between your torso and your legs. Keep your legs straight as well as your arms and push through your shoulders. And then we'll just hold this position. So moving on, the next progression is called feet elevated pike hold. This progression will require you to put your feet on an elevated surface and walk your hands back towards your feet so that your shoulders will be directly underneath your hips. In other words, your hips will be directly stacked on top of your shoulders. This will place greater load on your shoulders and your core. And we're just going to hold this position. All right, so once you've mastered the pike hold progressions, you can then move on to the wall handstand progressions, and this is where the real fun begins. All right, so let's talk about hand placement. A good place to begin is to have your hands about shoulders width apart, and we'll spread out our fingers as wide as they can possibly be. This will create more surface area and more leverage for you to play around with your grip. All right, so your fingers shouldn't be like this, it should be spread out wide. And then you're pulling your fingertips back towards the palms to create an arch between your fingers, you see? And this will help you with your balancing point. So when you fall forward, you will then press forward to counterbalance, okay? And with the palms, you want to push it in towards the ground. Imagine you're holding a ball, all right? So you're going to press forward with your fingertips and you're going to push forward down with your palms. All right, so I'll now show you a little trick on how to understand a little bit more about the balancing point, all right? So you're standing on 2 feet. Imagine you're falling forward. You're pressing forward with your toes, right? To counterbalance. Imagine you're falling backwards. You're pressing backwards with your heel to counterbalance. It's the same with handstand, okay? So, if I'm falling forward, I'm pressing forward with my fingertips. Now, if I'm falling back, I'm pressing back with my palms. Oi. All right, so let's talk about the wall handstands. Now, there are 2 variations within a wall handstand, okay? So there's chest to wall handstand, and then there's back to wall handstand. I will demonstrate the chest to wall handstand first, and it's 5 progressions, and then I will demonstrate the back to wall handstand. Now, I would highly recommend that you start with chest to wall handstand first because it's much more easier to just walk your hands and feet back so that your chest faces the wall. Whereas with the back to wall handstand, many people will have fear factor with jumping up, kicking their legs up so that their back is facing the wall. Okay, so the chest to wall and the back to wall should go hand in hand in your sessions. Okay, so you practice both variations in a single session. But initially, you would do the chest to wall first, build up the strength, and once you're able to do around 15 seconds for 4 sets for the chest to wall handstand hold, then you can start doing back to wall, because this will then prove that you have enough upper body strength to be able to support yourself with jumping from the floor to facing your back against the wall. All right, so the first progression of the chest to wall handstand is called the chest to wall hold. What you do is you position yourself in a push-up position with your feet facing against the wall. Then you step 1 foot on the wall, followed by the other, and you alternate by walking your hands and your feet back towards the wall until your chest becomes really close to the wall. A few things to note is that to keep your core engaged, your glutes engaged by pushing your hips forward so that there will be no arch in your lower back. Push your shoulders out as high as you can and as far as you can to the ground, and keep your arms locked out. And we're just going to hold this position. All right, so the second progression is called the chest to wall 1 leg hold. You'll get into a chest to wall position, and what you do is then you bring 1 leg away from the wall while keeping your other leg on the wall. And we're just going to hold this, and we just switch between both legs in a single set. All right, so the third exercise is called the chest to wall alternating leg. So you get into a chest to wall handstand position, bring 1 leg away from the wall while keeping the other on the wall, and you just switch places. So the leg that is now out will be now touching the wall, and the leg that was on the wall will now be away from the wall. And you just alternate this tempo while keeping your core engaged, your glutes engaged, and pushing through your shoulders. The next progression is called the chest to wall leg pull. So you get into a chest to wall position, keep your feet together. What you do is then you press with the palms of your hands to bring in your feet away from the wall. And you gently tap your toes into the wall so that you push your feet off the wall, okay? So press into your palms, push away with your toes to bring your feet away from the wall lightly, and then press into your fingertips to counterbalance and push yourself back towards the wall. Moving on, the next and last progression of the chest to wall is called the chest to wall leg pull hold. So similar to the chest to wall leg pull, but this time you just hold it. So remember, press into the palms of your hands, push with your tiptoes slightly to bring your feet away from the wall, and you just want to try and then hold the handstand without the assistance of the wall for around 3 to 5 seconds to build that balance gradually. So I'll now walk you through the back to wall handstand progressions, all right? But remember, before you do the back to wall progressions, you must be able to do chest to wall hold for around 15 seconds for 4 sets, as this will make sure that you have enough upper body strength to be able to do the back to wall. But before you do the back to wall, you need to learn how to kick up against the wall. And this is where most people have fear factor that they will not be able to save themselves or they will hurt themselves when they do this. But don't worry. One thing that you need to know is that the wall is there to catch you, not to hurt you, okay? All right, so I'll show you the handstand kicks, okay? Remember, the wall is there to catch you, not to hurt you. So we'll begin with our hands about shoulders width apart, and you can have a gap about 4 to 8 inches away from the wall, okay? So always lock your arms up and keep your shoulders stacked directly on top of your wrist. We'll bend in one leg towards the chest. This is my non-dominant leg, okay? So I'll bend in my non-dominant leg in towards my chest to create a runner position. Then we'll bend the legs, keep the dominant leg straight, we'll bend the leg, and then we'll push, and then we'll whip with our dominant leg. And we'll just try to tap the heels of our feet with the dominant leg on the wall, like that. Remember, keep the shoulders locked out, bend, and whip. Bend, whip. And then we're just gonna hold. And always keep your shoulders stacked directly on top of your wrist, because if your shoulders is here, this much range is just a waste of energy. Whereas if you're already stacked, you only just have to move your hips up. All right, so now you know how to do handstand kick-ups. You can then move on to the first progression, which is called the back to wall handstand hold, okay? So just like the back to wall kick-ups, you then get into a push-up position with your hands about shoulders width apart and your fingers are about 4 to 8 inches away from the wall. You then kick up into a back to wall handstand, and then we're just gonna hold this position. Moving on to the second progression, which is called the back to wall one leg hold. Okay, so you get into a back to wall handstand hold position, and then you just bring in one leg away from the wall while keeping the other leg on the wall, and we're just gonna hold this position. Ensure to keep your core engaged, your glutes engaged, push your hips forward so that your lower back is not arched, and push through with your shoulders into the ground. And you're gonna alternate between holding one leg in a single set. Moving on to the third progression, which is called the back to wall alternating legs. So you get into a back to wall one leg hold position of the handstand, and you'll just alternate between putting one leg against the wall and bringing the other leg away from the wall, and just creating this switching feet tempo, and you just do this for reps. Moving on to the fourth progression, which is called the back to wall leg pull. Okay, so this time get into a back to wall position, keep your feet together, and you'll press with your fingers to bring your feet away from the wall. Okay, so press with your fingers and then tap gently with your heels of your feet to push your feet away from the wall. And then you can press with your palms of your hands to counterbalance. So press and press to counterbalance, okay? Just do pulses and do this for reps. And lastly, we're doing the back to wall leg pull hold. So you get into the back to wall position, keep your legs together, you pull your legs away from the wall, and you're just gonna try and hold this position without your legs touching the wall. All right, so once you're comfortable with doing the chest to wall leg pull hold and the back to wall leg pull hold, you can then move on to the freestanding handstand without the wall. But before you do that, you need to learn how to dismount. Dismount is when you exit safely from the handstand. So I'll show you how to do it, okay? So you're gonna get into a run up position and we're gonna jump into the handstand. And when you dismount, you want to rotate about 180 degrees to your dominant side, okay? So my right leg is my dominant leg. So I dismount, I turn 180 degrees, I twist my torso, I bend my knees, so that when I land safely on my knees, okay? So, like this. Dismount, land safely. And after that, it's just a matter of trial and error and trying to find your balance point. So you just practice freestanding handstand until you're able to hold the free handstand comfortably. So, what are the benefits of doing handstands? One, it will develop your upper body strength. As training for the handstand, you will train your entire upper body, so your anterior deltoid, your core, your traps, your triceps, your forearms, your wrists. You'll gain strengthening benefits from training this. Two, increase your proprioception, which is the increase of your body awareness in an open space. Three, it looks cool and it's fun to practice. So there you have it, guys. In this video, I've showed you how to do the handstand from 0 all the way to hero. I've covered the requirements, the warm-ups, the stretches, the wrist position, and the progressions, so that you can practice on your handstand training today. If you do find this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and consider pressing the subscribe button that is located under this video to be notified for future workout tutorials. Now, if you have any questions regarding the handstands, please let me know in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.
Thank you for watching, guys. Check us out at gymless.org for more tutorials, and please like and subscribe.